Hello friends, welcome to Electronic Circuit Hub. So today we are going to understand about the feedback voltage regulator design by using LTspice. How you gonna design this circuitry, how this circuit works, how you gonna design the linear regulator with the help of two transistor and one Zener diode, and how you gonna design the feedback circuitry for this, and how this circuit works, what is the input specification and what is the output specification. Okay, so that is why the topic is feedback voltage regulator design. Voltage regulator design, along with the feedback, we are going to understand the importance of each and every component, and then later I'm going to run the simulation and I'm going to show you what is my input waveform, what is my output waveform, what is the power dissipation here, all these things, what is the load current, we are going to see in the simulation. Okay, so let's get started. So if you look at here, so V1 is the voltage source. If I say the voltage source, this is my input source. Okay. Then in the V1, I have used series pass transistor, that is Q2. For simulation purpose, the Q2 part number is FJT849. But if you want to build this circuit is never tested in production. I'm making the video for educational purpose. But if you want to build this circuit, you have to choose the Q2 as a power transistor which can handle more amount of power based on your load requirement. Okay, if I say if your load requirement is, let's say, 100 milliampere, you should select the transistor like TIP31 or TIP32. Okay, this kind of transistor you should select because you are delivering the load with the help of this series pass element, and it is very important to understand the thermal aspect of your Q2. Otherwise your Q2 is going to damage. For the simulation purpose, I use this part number. Maybe you can use some other part number, right? So Q2 is the series pass transistor, and the base of Q2 is connected with the Q1, and the in emitter of Q1, if you look at, I have connected one the Zener diode D1. The breakdown voltage of this Zener diode is 4.7 volt. Okay, now to bias this Q2, I have used R1. Okay, to bias this Q2, I have used R1, and not only Q2 but at the same time Q1 as well. The R1 plays very important role to provide the base current to the Q2 to modulate the output voltage, and also it provides the collector current to the Q1. What is the purpose of C1? If you want to understand what is the purpose of C1, why do we need C1 here? Okay, so the objective to place C1 between the collector and the base of Q1 is to provide the stability to avoid the oscillation, output oscillation. So it's a small value capacitance. You can use C1 and it provides the stability of your circuit and avoids the oscillations. Okay, now if you go at this side, this is my collector side of Q2, and I have connected the load resistance. R5 is nothing but the load resistance wherein I am trying to deliver the power to the load, right? So the load resistance value at the moment is 103, and if you look at before even the R5, I have R4. What is the purpose of R4? Why do we need R4? Usually we don't require R4, right? So because your Zener is connected at the emitter of your Q1, so what R4 is doing, very important to understand what R4 is doing. Basically, R4 provides the Zener breakdown constant current. Okay, it provides the constant current to the Zener breakdown to avoid any kind of malfunction. Okay, now how the Q1 is going to turn on, very important. Q1 is going to turn on because your emitter is connected at 4.7 volt. We have connected the Zener diode breakdown voltage 4.7, which is connected to the emitter of Q1, and so your Q1 base required the Zener breakdown voltage plus emitter voltage of your Q1. That means 4.7 volt plus let's say VBE of Q1 is VBE of Q1 is, if you look at here, VBB of Q1 is 0.7. So at least we required a 5.4 volt to turn on this Q1. Otherwise, your Q1 is not going to turn on. And the value of R2 and the value of R3 is selected based on your output voltage. Let us say if I want to get the 10 volt output, what is going to be my value of R2 and what is going to be the value of R1? How you gonna calculate this, the value of R1 and R3, not R R2 and R3, sorry, R2 and R3. You can calculate the V out. V out equals to VJ, Zener breakdown voltage, plus the VBE, base to emitter voltage of Q1, multiply by 1 plus R2 divided by R3. Okay, since you know the value of V out, you know the value of Vj, you know the value of V even, you can fix the value of either R2 or R3 and then you can calculate other value. Okay, let's say if R2 is 1k, you can calculate the value of R3. Okay, so that is how we design the output voltage, how much my desired output voltage. Okay, let's say my desired output voltage is 10 volt. What is my input? If you look at the source side, my input is 12 volt to 25 volt. So I have unregulated input. So if I have to write it here somewhere, so I have here unregulated input, right? This is V1 is nothing but unregulated input. You don't have fixed output, you have unregulated output, and we want this to regulate at a 10 volt. Okay, so this is your output voltage. If I want to place the net it here, you can place the net level. This is the output voltage. I call this as a V out. Let's say this is your output voltage. Okay, and if you want to place at input side, you can also place the net level. This is nothing but, let's say, V in. You have V in and you have V out, right? So V in is unregulated. It is varying from, it is changing from 10 volt to 25 volt, but my output voltage has to be fixed and it should be 10 volt. I'm designing the circuit for 10 volt. Okay, most important things, guys, since you are designing the linear regulator, it is very important to understand the power dissipation of your pass transistor, of your Q2. It displays very important design. The selection of Q2, again I'm saying the selection of Q2 is very important, and if you don't size the Q2, you don't select the proper power dissipation of the Q2, it is going to damage in the production. It may not work, so be careful for selecting the Q2. How you gonna calculate the power dissipation of the Q2 theoretically? So it is going to be 25 minus 10. Okay, your input is changing from 10 to 25 volt, but the worst case input is 25 volt. So V in 25 volt, output is, let's say, 10 volt, multiply by, let's say I'm drawing the 100 milliampere of current, so 100 milliampere, and this is going to give the 1.5 watt of power. You have to properly select the Q2 which can deliver, which can dissipate 1.5 watt of power. You might need to, you can calculate the junction temperature, how much your junction of your TIP31 is rising based on the thermal resistance. You can calculate the junction temperature. If requires, you have to also use the heat sink. Okay, so very pay attention while selecting the Q2. For simulation purpose I'm showing this part, but you may look for 100 milliampere application, you may look for TIP31 or this kind of similar BJT. You can look similar transistor. Okay, so very important. Now I'll go back. Hope you understood the circuit flow. What is my input? 10 to 25 volt. What I want from output is 15 volt and 100 milliampere, and then I explained all the circuit, the purpose of R1, the purpose of C1, the purpose of R4, and the purpose of R2 and R3, and why do we have D1. Okay, so now what I'm going to do straight away, I'm going to run the simulation, and I'll show you the different waveforms. Whatever I explained, if it is coming in simulation or not, let us see. So I'm going to run the simulation. Maybe you can, what you can do is style window vertically. So one side you have your schematic, other side you have your waveform window. Okay, So what is your input? Input, if you look at it, is from 0 to 25 volt. This I have given the variable input, changing input 12 volt to 25 volt. What is my output? Okay, so if you look at here, the output is almost constant. It is marginally changing. Here I see it is around 10.33, but initially if you look at it is around, there is some output, uh, the input line regulation is there, but you see your input is changing from 10 to 10.33. Okay, so if I clearly click here, you see here your input is changing here. Okay, and then it is input is changing around 10 volt to around 10.28. Okay, that is because of that variable. We have the variable input. Okay, the changing output, the varying input. So your output is slightly changing, but there is not much impact. It's a difference of around 300 millivolt. Okay, what is my load current? If I want to show you my load current, so load current is almost at 25 volt. It is constant, and I see it's 100 milliampere, guys. Your load current is 100 milliampere. Very important thing I wanted to show you, that the power dissipation of your Q2, which is very important. So if I now delete the power dissipation, let me uh, show you the power dissipation. Okay, okay, now if you look at, your power dissipation is around 1.5 watt for this Q2. Your Q2 is dissipating the power of 1.5 volt. And what is the voltage across the Q2? So you can also see the voltage across Q2, and which is around 15 volt. Okay, you see the voltage across Q2 is 15 volt. Okay, so that is how you see this series pass transistor Q2 drops most of the voltage across it. Since it is dropping the voltage, and power is nothing but voltage into current, always voltage into current, there will be a load current. It is going to dissipate 1.5 watt of power. So while selecting the Q2, you should be very careful the selection. And I never this test circuit, I never tested this circuit. If you want to test this circuit, you can build in a breadboard, try testing it. You might need to use heatsink. Try selecting proper Q2. And if you have any further question regarding this topic, feel free to ask me in comment section. Thank you for watching this video.